All right, let's break down what's really going on behind the curtain. The headlines are flashing, but the real stories, the ones that connect the dots, are buried deep. Let's dig in. I spent years inside one of those giant media machines, watching them craft narratives and spin the truth to fit their agenda. I couldn't be a part of it, so I left. Now I'm independent, speaking directly to you, uncovering the facts that truly shape our world. And if you believe in that mission, in getting the unvarnished truth, then take a second to hit that like button and subscribe. It tells the algorithm that real news matters. And if you can, consider becoming a sponsor of the channel. Your support is what keeps this platform independent and allows me to keep digging, to keep speaking freely for you. Let's start in Europe, where the temperature is rising, and I'm not talking about the climate. Ursula von der Leyen, the head of the European Commission, has just unveiled another round of sanctions against Russia. This isn't just more of the same, folks. They are aiming for the jugular, with severe restrictions on energy, finance, and trade. The centerpiece of this new package is a ban on imports of Russian liquefied natural gas, or LNG. This is a huge move, designed to turn the screws on Putin's war machine even tighter, cutting off a critical revenue stream. But this pressure comes with a price, and some leaders are finally being brutally honest about it. The former NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg, who now serves as Norway's finance minister, just laid it all out in the open. He sent a chilling message to every citizen in Europe. Get ready to pay for Ukraine's defense, even if it means sacrificing your own education and healthcare. He said, and I'm quoting him directly, "1 billion for defense support is 1 billion taken from healthcare, education, and infrastructure." Think about that. No sugarcoating it. Stoltenberg went on to say that the greatest loss would be allowing the enemy to win. Therefore, he argued, everyone must take responsibility and, in his words, pay for peace. It's a stark, honest admission of where the money is going to come from, straight out of the budgets that support our daily lives. At almost the same moment, we see another interesting development out of Germany. The Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, has publicly welcomed the plan announced by US President Donald Trump to end the conflict in the Gaza Strip. Merz didn't just offer words, he made it clear that Germany is ready to help implement the peace plan and assist in rebuilding Gaza if an agreement is reached. Berlin will not stand aside under any circumstances, he declared. This is a significant signal of alignment. Meanwhile, on the ground in Germany, things are far from calm. The mayor of Munich, Dieter Reiter, had to issue a public apology after the city's world-famous Oktoberfest was temporarily shut down due to overcrowding. He apologized to anyone who felt unsafe, especially those with children who panicked when they were suddenly told to evacuate without any clear explanation. People were terrified, and you can understand why. And the disruptions in Germany don't stop there. The pilots of Lufthansa, the country's largest airline, have just voted overwhelmingly in favor of another strike. According to the union, 90% of pilots participated in the vote, and the vast majority said yes. The reason? A dispute over pension benefits. The exact dates are still being determined, but after a long period without major strikes, Germany is about to face serious travel chaos again. And it's not just Germany. Brussels Airport has already issued a warning that no passenger flights will depart on October 14th. Why? Because airport and security staff are joining a general strike. People are taking to the streets demanding to be heard. We're also expecting more strikes in France this October. Amidst all this, a truly tragic and bizarre event has occurred in Paris. The South African ambassador, a 58-year-old diplomat, somehow fell from the window of a 4-star hotel. He reportedly fell from the 22nd floor, and a major investigation has been launched, handed over to a specialized unit that deals with crimes against individuals. The intrigue here is enormous, and we will be watching this story very closely. Now, let's cross the Atlantic to the United States, where some seismic shifts are happening. Donald Trump's Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, just held a meeting with hundreds of generals and admirals, and he did not mince words. He told the assembled military leadership that the U.S. Army has lost its way and called for an immediate return to basic standards. All the progressive agendas pushed during the Joe Biden administration, he announced, are cancelled from this moment forward. Hegseth was specific. Standards for height and weight are back, and so are physical fitness tests. He declared, "No more beards and long hair. If you want a beard, go to Special Forces. If not, shave." It was a blunt, unambiguous message. No other options are on the table. And then he added a line that is raising a lot of eyebrows, saying, "We don't have an army full of northern pagans." This is a clear and dramatic reversal of course for the US military. What do you think about these changes? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. In his own address, President Donald Trump followed up with some powerful rhetoric. He declared, "We won the First World War. We won the Second World War. We won everything in between and everything before that. And then we started getting involved in other issues." He then announced a massive increase in military spending, promising that in 2026, the US military will be allocated over $1 trillion. As expected, he also delivered sharp criticism, calling the withdrawal from Afghanistan, orchestrated by Biden and his team, a terrible show run by incompetent people. Trump called it the most shameful day in US history, a direct and public condemnation. He also threatened to fire US military commanders on the spot if he doesn't like them. The message is clear. Anyone deemed unsatisfactory by President Trump will be dismissed without hesitation. He wrapped up with a motivational flourish, telling the leaders in the room that with them, America will defeat any danger and crush any threat to its freedom for all future generations. Because we will fight, 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 and we will win. Win, he repeated. It was a serious speech, setting a very clear tone for his administration. But while America talks about trillion-dollar budgets, let's go back to Germany for a dose of reality that is almost comical, if it weren't so infuriating. Germany's Taxpayers Federation has released its annual Black Book, a report on the most egregious cases of wasteful government spending. And folks, you can't make this stuff up. Topping the list is the bankruptcy of a Swedish battery manufacturer, Northvolt, which received 600 million euros from the German government to build a factory. The company went bankrupt, and the money vanished. The project was pushed by Robert Habeck, who somehow seems to have avoided any responsibility. Then there's a bridge in Saxony that cost 900,000 euros but isn't connected to any roads because the funds for the rest of the construction mysteriously ran out. In the state of Hesse, a new bike path runs directly into a flower bed with trees because of a design flaw. That was 7,000 euros down the drain. Equally bizarre is a Hollywood swing in Kassel, which cost 16,000 euros and was installed to provide a scenic view of a busy highway. And it gets better. In Lübeck, a hybrid ferry worth 5 million euros has been sitting idle for over a year. Even the push for digitalization in the police force has become a farce. In Bremen, the department spent 200,000 euros on software and 100 portable printers for issuing inspection receipts. Over 4 years, they were used a grand total of 32 times. But beyond the strange spending, there's a palpable tension in the air. In Lower Saxony, a moment of sheer panic erupted when the pilots of a military transport plane saw a flash and heard a loud bang during takeoff. They thought they were under attack. The crew immediately radioed air traffic control, military patrols and police were scrambled to the scene, and the area around the airbase was searched. No suspects were found. The police are investigating it as dangerous interference with air traffic, but the media suggests it was probably just someone setting off fireworks. It just goes to show how on edge pilots are in Germany right now. And for the final story, we head to Poland for a report that is truly one of a kind. A journalist asked the Polish president, a man identified as King Noworodski, what it's like living in the Warsaw Palace that was once the residence of the first Marshal of the Polish Republic, Piłsudski. And then he asked, probably as a joke, if he had ever met the Marshal's ghost. President Noworodski's answer was astonishing. He replied, "We talk to each other practically every day." He claimed they had spoken many times about the Polish-Soviet War of 1920, the current international situation since the war in Ukraine began, and even about the parliament. So according to this report, the Polish president is having almost daily conversations with the ghost of Piłsudski. Now we are left to wonder whether this was some kind of elaborate, dry humor or something else entirely. We'll just have to watch and see. These are the moments that truly paint a picture of our times, a mix of high-stakes geopolitics, domestic chaos, and moments of pure absurdity. So let's quickly recap what we've covered. We saw Europe doubling down with serious sanctions on Russia, while its leaders openly admit that funding Ukraine's defense will mean deep cuts to domestic services. In the US, we're seeing the groundwork being laid for a radical overhaul of the military under Trump, with a massive budget increase and a swift reversal of previous policies. And all across Europe, from Germany to Poland, we're witnessing a landscape of strikes, bizarre government waste, and a general atmosphere of high tension and unpredictability. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this breakdown valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to see the bigger picture. If you're able to, please consider becoming a channel sponsor. Your support is the lifeblood of this independent platform. It's what allows me to bring you the unfiltered truth, day in and day out. Stay informed and stay alert. There's always more to the story.